Imagine for a second that you are walking through a community garden. You know the type.
Right, lots of green, maybe a little bit chaotic.
Exactly. It's lush, it's green. You've got rows of hydroponic greens, that earthy smell of a mushroom cultivation
Yeah,
area.
that very distinct damp smell.
Right. And maybe some fish tanks bubbling away in the corner. It's peaceful. It's entirely self-sustaining.
Sounds idyllic, honestly.
It does, right. But now imagine you walk to the very back of this garden, and hidden inside this reinforced, weatherproof container is a bank vault.
Okay, a bank vault in a garden.
Yeah, but it's not holding gold bars or like stacks of cash. It's holding the most highly classified sovereign artificial intelligence data for massive global corporations.
Wow.
And here is the kicker. It is being powered by the compost from the garden you just walked through.
It's just such a striking juxtaposition. I mean, when most of us picture high-security AI data centers, the image that usually comes to mind is massive sterile infrastructure.
Yeah, like sprawling concrete bunkers in Silicon Valley.
Exactly. Or server farms, sitting somewhere in the Arctic, consuming just unimaginable amounts of water for cooling.
And drawing power from these massive centralized energy grids.
Right. But the documentation we are examining today, well, it presents a radical departure from that monolithic model.
It really does. So that is the core of our analysis today. We're going on a deep dive into a fascinating collision between traditional agriculture and cutting-edge digital infrastructure.
It's a world you really do not expect to mix.
Not at all. We've got a stack of documentation and website excerpts from a Malaysian commercial agritech operator called Ecoladang Microfarms.
Operating under My Datasys SDN BHD, if we want to be exact.
Right, exactly. And they're doing something so far outside the conventional box, it kind of forces you to rethink what a data center actually is.
Totally.
I mean, they are stating quite openly that they don't just farm crops like insects or mycelium, they are farming data.
Which completely reframes the entire agricultural business model. You know, if we step back and look at the macro theme here, we are really observing the evolution of digital real estate.
Digital real estate. Okay, break that down for me.
So historically, real estate was purely physical. Someone buys a plot of land, grows a crop, and sells it at market.
Simple enough.
Right. Then we saw the rise of digital real estate, buying server space, domain names, cloud infrastructure.
The tech boom.
Exactly. Well, Ecoladang is essentially synthesizing those two concepts. They are taking physical, biological real estate and overlaying it with high-value digital real estate.
Wow.
Yeah, they are looking at a system where the physical biological farm and the digital cloud are woven together into what the designers actually call a data environment fabric.
A data environment fabric, that's quite a term.
It completely changes the economic output of a single square foot of land.
And the scale of this ecosystem is what immediately caught my eye in the sources. According to the documentation, Ecoladang's mission is to transform underutilized farmland into a self-sustaining economic engine.
Through traditional high-value microfarming, right?
Yeah, so we are talking about insect farming, mycelium farming, which is, the vegetative part of fungi, essentially mushroom cultivation.
Right, the root systems, basically.
Exactly. Hydroponics, fish farms, and an avian lagomorph setup.
Avian lagomorph, that's a highly efficient structure for poultry and rabbits, for anyone wondering.
Yeah, birds and bunnies. And right alongside all this biological cultivation, there is an integrated fabrication and training center.
And what anchors all of these incredibly diverse elements together is that data environment fabric we mentioned.
So it's not just a buzzword.
No, not at all. It serves as the technological foundation of the entire ecosystem. Every single function on this farm is powered by secure, local, sustainable AI infrastructure.
Wait, every function?
Every function. Whether it involves managing the ambient humidity for the mycelium or, monitoring the nutrient levels in the hydroponic tanks.
Okay, I see.
Or even calculating the carbon credits generated by the operation. The farm is not passively existing. It is constantly generating data, and that data is processed on site.
Okay, I have to pause here because, and maybe it's just me, but the upfront capital expenditure to build a localized power grid, a pristine environment for servers, and a high-yield farm all at once.
It's massive.
It has to be astronomical compared to just planting seeds. I mean, humans have been growing mushrooms in damp caves for thousands of years.
Very true.
They did it without the need for an NVIDIA processor, I am struggling to see how a franchisee ever sees a return on that initial investment. It feels like slapping a jet engine on a bicycle.
I get that.
Okay.
The capital expenditures is definitely the critical friction point for this model.
Yeah.
If the goal is simply to grow the maximum number of mushrooms at the lowest possible upfront cost, then yes, this would be absurdly over-engineered.
Right.
But that is misreading the underlying economics here. The farm is the vehicle for the compute, and the compute is what optimizes the farm.
Okay. Elaborate on that a bit.
Well, traditional agriculture is notoriously volatile. I mean, a farmer is constantly at the mercy of weather, pests, supply chain disruptions.
Fluctuating market prices.
Exactly. The margins are often incredibly thin.
Right. One bad season of weather or a sudden blight, and a traditional farm can basically face ruin. So you're saying the technology side acts as an economic hedge against that?
It is more than a hedge, actually. It is the primary economic driver.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Look at the economics of data compute and artificial intelligence right now. The demand is skyrocketing exponentially, right?
Oh, definitely. Everyone wants AI.
But the bottlenecks are power generation and physical infrastructure. Ecoladang is attempting to solve the problems of both industries simultaneously.
By syncing them together.
Exactly. By integrating them, they monetize every single square inch of physical space and every single joule of energy.
Okay, I think I'm following.
The crops provide a baseline of revenue, plus the biomass needed for power. And the compute provides a high-margin, consistent revenue stream that insulates the operation against that agricultural volatility.
Okay, so the mushrooms are essentially paying the rent, but the server racks are buying the yacht.
That's a great way to put it.
Well, that unit economics argument makes sense, but it brings up a massive physical hurdle. Running data centers requires a staggering amount of electricity.
Oh, massive amounts.
We are talking about facilities that draw as much power as a small city. If you are placing these server racks on underutilized farmland, presumably far away from massive industrial power grids, that power has to come from somewhere.
Right, and that leads directly into the first major pillar of their operation, which is the power and resilience loop.
The loop, okay.
Ecoladang generates its own clean power right there on site. And they accomplish this by utilizing the very thing that traditional farms produce in abundance and usually have to pay to get rid of.
Agricultural waste.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Biomass.
And their biomass conversion unit is where the mechanics get really interesting. I was looking through this, and this isn't just tossing some old cabbage leaves into a compost bin and waiting for it to decompose.
Oh, it's highly industrial.
The documentation lists a really technical series of processes. They're utilizing gasification, carbonization, waste pyrolysis, and they're producing activated carbon and wood vinegar.
It's a full thermochemical breakdown.
Yeah. Instead of just setting the waste on fire, which releases carbon straight into the atmosphere, they're using gasification.
Right.
It sounds less like a furnace and more like a high-tech pressure cooker. You bake the organic matter without oxygen, breaking the molecular bonds until it releases a combustible synthetic gas.
That is a very apt way to visualize it. Thermochemical conversion strips the biomass down at a molecular level.
Okay.
By starving the environment of oxygen, which is the pyrolysis part, you prevent combustion. So instead of ash and CO2, you get syngas.
Which you can burn.
Exactly. Which can be burned to generate electricity very cleanly. And you also get biochar, a form of activated carbon that can actually be cycled back into the soil to improve crop yields.
So you are taking a liability, like waste management, and transforming it into an asset, which is power generation.
Yes, exactly.
It's like having a goat that eats your garbage and sweats out electricity.
That's a very vivid analogy, but yes.
You feed this machine your agricultural waste, the leftover stocks from the harvest, the waste from the fish farms, and it outputs the electricity that powers the enterprise servers.
And because this power is generated locally, directly from the farm's own waste stream, they achieve a renewable energy surplus.
A surplus, meaning they have more than they need.
Right. This seems like the linchpin of the whole operation.
Yeah.
This surplus is what drastically lowers the running costs of the compute architecture.
And it also neutralizes the operational carbon footprint, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, there is a massive global conversation right now about the devastating environmental impact of training large language models.
Generative AI takes a ton of power.
It does. The strain on municipal grids is immense. But if your power source is literally the carbon cycle of the farm itself, you sidestep the grid almost entirely.
You completely remove the environmental guilt from the equation of enterprise AI.
Exactly.
I am curious about the fail rates, though. I mean, Maintaining a sophisticated gasification unit in a humid, tropical environment sounds like a maintenance nightmare.
Oh, it's definitely a challenge.
If the biomass unit clogs or goes down for repairs, the servers would crash, right? And enterprise clients would completely lose their minds.
They would. But the designers seem very aware of the realities of operating critical mechanical infrastructure.
Okay, so what's the backup?
While the biomass provides the primary sustainable power, the documentation explicitly outlines the integration of advanced power transfer, or APT, switches.
Okay, so the APT switches maintain the national power grid as a high availability backup. So if the biomass unit needs maintenance, or, I don't know, the farm simply doesn't produce enough waste that week, the operation seamlessly and temporarily sips from the main grid.
Right, just until the local energy production stabilizes again.
Got it.
It provides the necessary resilience for enterprise clients. And if we pull back and look at the macro implications of this, they are just staggering.
How so?
Imagine you are not just looking at one of these farms, but a franchise network of them. Hundreds or even thousands of these microfarms scattered across a region.
Oh, wow. It effectively becomes a decentralized power and compute grid.
Exactly.
Instead of a tech giant building one monolithic $3 billion facility that strains a local municipal power grid to the breaking point, the load is distributed.
It's spread out.
Scattered, underutilized farmland transforms into a network of nodes forming global digital infrastructure.
And a centralized data center is a single point of failure.
Yeah.
A decentralized network of microfarms is inherently robust.
Because if one farm goes down.
Right. If one farm experiences an extended power failure or network issue, the compute tasks can theoretically be routed to the others.
Okay, so the power generation is localized, the space is optimized, but we really have to address the glaring vulnerability here.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Security. If you are a massive enterprise client, let's say a major financial institution running risk models, or a pharmaceutical company working on proprietary drug sequencing.
Highly sensitive stuff.
Extremely sensitive. How could you possibly trust your incredibly valuable AI data to sit in a shed on a remote farm in the tropics?
It's a huge hurdle.
Forget sophisticated cyber attacks for a moment.
Right.
What about a guy with a crowbar who just wants to steal a high-end graphics card?
It's the most practical threat.
Yeah.
And selling enterprise-grade digital real estate requires enterprise-grade security.
Right.
Ecoladang attempts to solve this through what they call a zero-trust dual architecture paradigm.
Okay, let's break down zero trust because it is a buzzword that gets thrown around constantly in tech right now, and it usually refers to software protocols.
Yes, it's usually a network term.
So how do they apply a software philosophy to a physical farm?
Well, in modern cybersecurity, zero trust operates on the principle of never trust, always verify.
Okay.
You no longer assume that just because a user or a device is inside the corporate firewall, they're authorized to be there.
Right, you double-check everything.
Exactly. Every single request for access, lateral movement, or data extraction must be independently authenticated. Well, Ecoladang has taken this digital philosophy and mapped it onto their physical and network infrastructure.
Okay. Yeah.
Their foundational assumption is that a remote physical environment will eventually be compromised.
Wait, really? That feels like a strange sales pitch. They're basically assuming someone is going to break in.
I know, it sounds crazy.
If I am selling a corporate security system, I do not start by telling the client that the perimeter will inevitably fail.
It sounds totally counterintuitive. But acknowledging the physical vulnerabilities of a remote tropical farm is actually a highly sophisticated defensive posture.
You mean by not living in denial?
Exactly. If your entire security apparatus relies on a perimeter fence and a padlock, you are completely compromised the moment an intruder brings bolt cutters.
Okay, that's a good point.
By assuming the physical perimeter will eventually fail, the engineering must focus on a digital fortress that does not rely on a chain-link fence for its integrity.
Okay, so how does that actually manifest in the architecture? How do you build a digital fortress in a physical space you assume is already compromised?
By rigidly dividing the infrastructure into two completely separate ecosystems. This is the core of the dual architecture.
Two ecosystems, okay.
On one side, you have the PCDS, the Precision Control Data Space. This system handles all the internal farm operations.
The mushrooms and the fish.
Right. And on the other side, completely siloed off, is the SAS, the Sovereign Artificial Intelligence Space. And this is reserved purely for external corporate clients.
Okay, I am picturing this. So if a hacker manages to breach the sensors in the greenhouse, maybe they I don't know, find a vulnerability in the IoT thermometer that measures the humidity for the mycelium?
Yeah, sure. A common edge vulnerability.
They are trapped within the PCDS. They
Yeah.
cannot pivot from the mushroom thermometer into the corporate LLM data stored in the SAIs.
Exactly. There is no digital bridge between the two systems.
Wow, okay.
It contains the blast radius of any potential breach. The farm management system and the enterprise data vault share the same physical location and they draw power from the same biomass unit, but digitally they exist in two entirely disparate universes.
That's fascinating. Let's focus on that internal brain first, the system that actually runs the biological side of the farm, the PCDS.
Sure.
The documentation notes this is managed by Ecoladang microfarms themselves, and it orchestrates the day-to-day.
Right.
It monitors the IoT sensors, manages climate controls, and executes real-time AI-driven standard operating procedures, or SOPs.
The PCDS is the engine that allows a microfarm to operate with minimal human intervention and maximum efficiency.
Because farming is usually so labor-intensive.
Incredibly. In traditional agriculture, a human operator has to physically walk the rows, check the soil moisture by hand, visually inspect for signs of pests, adjust the irrigation manually.
It's a ton of work.
It's intensely labor-driven and highly susceptible to human error. Well, the PCDS automates this labor.
How exactly?
It aggregates data from hundreds of sensors in real time, analyzes it using localized AI, and executes immediate adjustments.
I was looking at the hardware specs for this internal brain, and honestly, they are intense.
They are very beefy for a farm.
They call it a home lab for enterprise philosophy, based on high availability duplication. We are looking at Dell Pro Slim desktops, Intel Core Ultra 9 processors, 64 gigabytes of memory, 8 terabytes or more of NVMe storage, and NVIDIA discrete AI accelerators.
It's a lot of power.
When I see 8 terabytes of NVMe storage, that tells me this isn't just a basic timer for a sprinkler system. NVMe storage is designed for lightning-fast read and write speeds.
You don't need that for a thermometer.
Exactly. They must be caching massive amounts of localized video or dense sensor data to require that kind of bandwidth.
Your deduction is spot on. They're running complex, localized AI vision models to optimize yield.
Vision models, like cameras.
Yes. The AI might be analyzing high-definition camera feeds in real time to detect the microscopic early signs of a fungal infection on the crops,
Oh, wow.
or calculating the precise dynamic mixture of nutrients needed in the hydroponic solution based on, like, minute shifts in ambient sunlight.
So it's constantly watching and adjusting.
Exactly. Processing that volume of visual and environmental data locally without latency requires serious parallel compute power, which is exactly why the NVIDIA accelerators are necessary.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But housing all of this hardware in what they call an agri-shack raises a lot of red flags for me.
The environment.
Yeah. The documentation describes it as a ruggedized, weatherproof container with physical tamper alarms. But putting high-end, heat-generating electronics like Intel Core Ultra 9s and NVIDIA chips in a tropical, humid, potentially salty agricultural environment, that is a brutal engineering challenge.
It really is.
Hardware degrades fast in those conditions.
The physical environment is arguably their biggest operational hurdle. The agri-shack cannot just be a shed to keep the rain off.
Right.
It has to function as a specialized survival pod for sensitive electronics. It must rigorously manage internal humidity, ambient temperature, and particulate dust, all while sitting in the middle of an active biological operation.
Just the HVAC and filtration requirements for that container alone would be substantial.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but even if the container keeps the humidity out, what about the data on the machines? Going back to our guy with the crowbar.
Ah, yes. The crowbar threat.
If someone does manage to break into the agri-shack, ignore the alarms, and literally steal the Dell desktop running the farm, what kind of data are they actually walking away with?
This brings us to Ecoladang's Layer 2 Edge Data Decoupling.
Decoupling.
Yeah, which is a highly effective approach to edge computing security. The PCDS, the localized brain, only retains volatile, daily operational data on its local drives.
When you say volatile operational data, you mean like the immediate sensor readouts?
Exactly.
The current temperature of the greenhouse, the inventory levels of the fish food, the mundane day-to-day metrics required for the farm to function in that exact moment?
Yes, it retains the data detailing how things are right now.
Okay, so it operates a lot like human memory.
How do you mean?
Well, the farm keeps its short-term memory on site. It knows where it put its keys and what the temperature is today. But what about the really valuable intellectual property? The proprietary crop yield algorithms, the long-term strategic harvesting data,
That is the decoupled element.
it's stored somewhere else.
Yes. All high-value proprietary IP is instantly transmitted to a secure institutional-grade central cloud server via encrypted TLS VPN tunnels.
Oh.
The farm intentionally does not store its long-term strategic memory on the edge devices.
So the thief with the crowbar busts into the agri-shack, grabs the server, throws it in the back of a pickup truck, and speeds off.
Right.
He gets home, plugs it in, and all he has is yesterday's thermostat readings.
Pretty much.
He doesn't get the secret sauce of how Ecoladang maximizes their mycelium yields. By the time the hardware is stolen, the valuable intellectual property is already miles away, safely stored in a central vault.
It renders the physical theft of the PCDS hardware economically pointless,
Yeah.
beyond the raw resale value of the physical components themselves, of course.
Right, the graphics card itself.
Exactly. And any attempt at physical extraction would trigger immediate tamper alarms and response protocols anyway.
It is a really elegant way to mitigate risk for the agricultural side.
It is.
But the PCDS just runs the farm. As we established earlier, the farm is the vehicle. The real commercial engine, the high-margin revenue driver, is the external side.
Yes, the data center side.
Right. Let's cross that architectural divide and examine the SAS.
The sovereign artificial intelligence space. This is where the model shifts from agricultural management to enterprise data farming.
Okay.
And it is crucial to note the operational distinction here. While the PCDS is managed by Ecoladang, the SAI's infrastructure is deployed and managed by their core technology partner,
Which is?
a private data center consultancy called MyDatasys SDN BHD, or MDS.
So they bring in specialized heavy hitters for the enterprise client.
Exactly. You don't leave enterprise data to the mushroom farmers.
Right. The sources detail that the SIS hosts private, single-tenant server racks dedicated entirely to corporate clients. These are powered by ultra-efficient M4-based platforms partnered with WeBuy.
Right.
Now, the term single-tenant is vital here. For anyone listening who manages corporate IT, you know there's a massive panic right now regarding public large language models.
Oh, massive. It's a huge liability issue.
Companies are terrified that their employees will paste proprietary source code or confidential financial data into a public AI tool to generate a report, and that proprietary data will suddenly be absorbed into the public training set.
And those corporate anxieties are entirely justified. I mean, corporate data integrity and intellectual property security are absolute imperatives.
You can't just hand that over to a public cloud.
No. Enterprise clients simply cannot risk sending proprietary LLM prompts to public cloud providers where the data lineage becomes completely opaque. They demand absolute granular control over where their data lives, how it is processed, and who has access to the physical hardware.
And this is the fundamental concept of data residency.
Precisely.
The documentation emphasizes that guarantee. It states that client information remains on-site, complying with stringent global data residency requirements.
Never leaves.
The IP and the LLM prompts never touch a public cloud. They stay strictly within the physical SI's rack located on the microfarm.
Right.
But wait, this creates a paradox.
How so?
The PCDS solved the physical theft problem by sending the valuable data away. The SAIs must keep the valuable data on site to maintain data residency.
Wow.
So how do they protect it when the crowbar guy shows up?
If the data cannot be decoupled and moved, it must be defended in place.
Okay.
The SAIs employs a hybrid edge core architecture with layered security.
Layered security. Tell me about layer one.
Layer 1 is full disk encryption, or FDE. All sensitive enterprise data is heavily encrypted at rest.
Meaning when it's just sitting on the drive.
Exactly. If the physical unit is compromised and stolen, the data is mathematically unreadable without off-site master cryptographic keys.
So the thief gets the server, but it is essentially a very heavy, expensive brick because the data is scrambled.
Right.
That is standard best practice for any enterprise hardware, though. But layer three is where the documentation reads like a spy thriller.
It really does.
They outline a remote defense and kill switch.
Yeah, so layer 3 transitions from passive defense to an active defense mechanism.
Active defense.
The central management system maintained by MDS holds a remote kill switch. If MDS detects a confirmed access attempt, for instance, if the physical tamper alarms on the SAI's rack are triggered, or an unauthorized network intrusion is detected, they can initiate the immediate and permanent wiping of all local storage.
They have an actual kill switch on a farm,
They do.
a self-destruct button for corporate data. They detect an intrusion, they hit a button in a control room in Kuala Lumpur, and the hard drives in the AgriShack literally wipe themselves to dust.
Essentially, yes, it's an instant purge.
I have to push back on the reliability of this, though. We are talking about a tropical farm. To execute a remote kill switch, you need absolute, unshakable connectivity.
You do.
If an intruder simply cuts the fiber optic cable leading to the farm, or if a severe thunderstorm knocks out the local cell towers, you cannot send the kill signal. The mechanism is entirely dependent on an unbroken line of communication.
Which is exactly why the architecture severs its reliance on local terrestrial telecom infrastructure.
Yep.
This AI utilizes a sovereign connectivity hub, specifically employing Starlink business for a reliable global uplink.
Starlink. So they are beaming the data straight to low Earth orbit.
Yes.
By utilizing a satellite uplink, they bypass local internet service providers, vulnerable local fiber lines, and any physical sabotage associated with terrestrial networks. It makes the microfarm a truly sovereign data island.
It mitigates the terrestrial risk significantly. However, your point about weather disruption is completely valid. Satellite uplinks can suffer degradation during severe atmospheric conditions.
Like a monsoon.
Right. This is why the layered approach is essential. If a coordinated attack occurs during a severe storm that disrupts the Starlink connection, and the intruder manages to physically steal the drive before the kill signal can be received,
Then what?
then the Layer 1 full disk encryption serves as the ultimate failsafe. The active defense might be hindered, but the passive encryption remains intact.
And as a secondary benefit to this sovereign connectivity hub, the documentation notes it also provides high-speed local Wi-Fi and 4G, 5G services to all the local farm units.
Right, which ensures the internal PCDS always has the bandwidth it needs to run those localized AI models.
It is an incredibly tightly woven symbiotic system. The farm produces agricultural waste. The waste goes into the biomass unit to create clean power.
Yes.
That power runs this SIs, which processes secure enterprise AI data, and it runs the PCDS, which runs the farm to produce more waste. And the entire operation is connected to space via Starlink.
It is a remarkable closed-loop ecosystem. But observing it from a purely practical, operational standpoint introduces another layer of complexity.
Exactly. If you are a prospective franchise operator looking at this, it is overwhelming.
Completely overwhelming.
You have this high-security, high-tech, biologically diverse operation. How does Ecoladang expect a regular person or a regional franchise owner to successfully run this day-to-day?
It sounds like you'd need a team of experts.
You really would. You would ostensibly need a background in computer science, a degree in agronomy, and experience in cybersecurity just to keep the lights on and the mushrooms growing.
Ecoladang is clearly aware of this operational friction. Their solution relies on abstracting the complexity away from the human operator.
Abstracting it.
Yes. The documentation states that they have packaged 4 decades of IT and operational expertise into simple, repeatable, standard operating procedures.
SOPs, checklists. That makes sense on a surface level, but static checklists can only take you so far when you are dealing with living biology that reacts unpredictably to environmental changes, coupled with maintaining advanced AI server racks.
Well, these are not static checklists printed in a binder.
What are they?
The PCDS system does not just manage the farm. It learns and optimizes these SOPs in real time through machine learning. It is a dynamic, self-correcting system.
Oh, I see.
The AI constantly monitors the biological results of the SOPs and dynamically tweaks the parameters to improve yield or efficiency.
So think about it like buying a highly advanced self-driving tractor.
I like that analogy.
As a franchise owner, you are not expected to know the exact moisture content required for optimal mycelium fruiting or, the command line prompts to reboot a WeBuyI M4 server rack.
Right. The internal AI knows that.
You are essentially managing the system that manages the farm. You own the tangible piece of equipment that performs a specific valuable function, and you reap the economic benefits of what that equipment produces.
The smart tractor analogy perfectly encapsulates the business model. The AI layer removes the agronomic and technical guesswork, which drastically minimizes the startup risk for the franchise operator.
And ensures predictable outcomes across the whole network.
Exactly. It is designed as a highly automated turnkey operation.
Let's discuss the legal and financial boundaries of acquiring one of these turnkey operations because the documentation is incredibly specific and defensive on this front.
They are very careful about their wording.
They feature a very prominent disclaimer. Ecoladang Microfarms is a commercial agritech franchise operator. It is emphatically not a public solicitation of capital, and it is not a security or collective investment scheme under the Malaysian Capital Markets and Services Act.
They are drawing a very firm regulatory line in the sand there.
Oh, why so defensive?
Well, in the current landscape of tech startups, especially anything involving decentralized networks, edge computing, or the word crypto, there is a strong tendency for projects to drift into the realm of unregulated securities or token offerings.
Ah, right, the crypto boom and bust.
Exactly. Ecoladang is aggressively distancing themselves from that entire ecosystem.
They state explicitly that franchise acquisitions represent the purchase of physical corporate business assets managed under private commercial service contracts.
Right.
They are ensuring there is no confusion. If you buy in, you are buying physical farm infrastructure, physical servers, and biological assets. You are not buying into a speculative digital coin.
It emphasizes the tangible physical reality of the enterprise. Even when the documentation mentions blockchain technology, which often raises eyebrows, they are very quick to restrict its use case.
How are they using it?
They clarify that any mention of blockchain infrastructure refers exclusively to internal enterprise utility ledgers used for transparent supply chain auditing and B2B operational accounting.
Okay, so they're utilizing blockchain for its original foundational purpose, an immutable, transparent ledger.
Yes, not for trading.
They're using it to track a specific crop yield from the hydroponic tray to the delivery truck, or to meticulously account for the exact amount of kilowatt hours generated by the biomass unit and subsequently consumed by the SAI's enterprise rack.
Exactly.
They are tracking internal metrics, not launching an Ecoladang token.
It is entirely about operational transparency and auditable accounting for their enterprise clients and franchise owners. It strips away any association with speculative financial instruments.
That makes a lot of sense.
And if we look at the partnerships mentioned in their ecosystem, it reinforces this idea of a highly structured, pragmatic, plug-and-play franchise model.
Yeah, let's look at those. Under their pillar-specific infrastructure section, they list Concept Steel Creations as a partner.
Right.
That suggests the physical agri-shacks, the containers, and the structural elements are standardized and prefabricated.
It implies a modular deployment process. A franchise preps the land, Concept Steel drops in the standardized physical infrastructure, MDS installs and configures the SAIs and PCDS hardware racks, and the farm is operational.
It completely removes the custom engineering burden from the individual operator.
Exactly.
And under governance and financial partners, they list PM Academy and CLIC World. This hints at a massive pre-built administrative network designed to handle the regulatory, training, and financial complexities of running a franchise network.
It's all laid out for you.
They haven't just engineered a cool tech demo, they have built an entire corporate ecosystem to support the operators at scale.
It is a comprehensive systemic approach. They are not merely selling a novel technological integration. They are providing the entire operational, legal, and structural framework necessary to make the technology profitable and manageable for a decentralized network of franchisees.
When you step back and look at the sheer scale of what they are trying to build here, I mean, we started with the concept of using a high-tech pressure cooker to turn agricultural waste into clean power.
Right.
We explored how that off-grid power fuels a dual architecture system. You have an internal farm brain, the PCDS, which uses edge AI to optimize crop yields and immediately offloads its critical data to a central vault.
The short-term memory.
Right. And then you have an external enterprise engine, the SEIs, which provides ultra-secure, sovereign AI compute for corporations, complete with a remote kill switch and satellite uplinks.
Wild to think about.
And it is all packaged into a modular franchise model that abstracts the complexity away from the operator.
It represents a remarkable synthesis of two completely disparate industries. It attempts to solve the severe energy and infrastructure crisis of the AI boom, while simultaneously providing a stable, high-margin economic foundation for sustainable, localized agriculture.
If you were thinking about the future of infrastructure, this model forces a complete paradigm shift.
It certainly challenges our assumptions about where technology belongs. If we connect all these architectural and economic pieces, it leaves us with a profound question regarding the next decade of digital growth.
What's that?
As global data demands continue to explode at an unprecedented exponential rate, and as traditional centralized energy grids increasingly buckle under the demands of hyperscale data centers.
Which we are already seeing.
Exactly. What if the technological infrastructure of the future isn't built in massive urban centers at all? What if, a decade from now, the most powerful sovereign AI processing in the world is quietly humming away beneath the canopy of tropical microfarms,
Wow.
entirely off the grid, sustained completely by the Earth it sits on?
The idea that the most advanced computational technology humanity has ever created might find its ultimate home not in a sterile concrete bunker, but hidden away in the back of a lush, self-sustaining community garden. It is a staggering thought.
It really is.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the source material. It has certainly given us a lot to think about regarding the future of data and the ground beneath our feet.